Okay, good morning. It's about 8:50 in the morning. It's pretty early. Not that early, I know, but early enough that I need to go kind of get my butt into gear and get things happening in the morning. So today, I wanted to talk about living with water insecurity in my village. This is kind of unusual, and I think it's because they're doing construction on something. It was really hard for me to understand the Armenian, but basically they're fixing pipes either in the village or elsewhere. But we're not getting water. So the problem is I haven't had water to my village, to my home, for about half a week now. Um, there was one day we got like a little trickle for about an hour. But otherwise, no water in my neighborhood. Some of the other neighborhoods have had water this week. The schools had water this week. But my neighborhood and my house, nope, no water. So, and this is not like, I don't want to make it sound like, oh my God, I'm living without water. Like, I'm gonna die. No. Um, like, it is very possible to live on little water. And I think this is also really important because we don't have a lot of clean water in our planet. And, we as Americans, especially, we use a lot of water without really realizing how much we're wasting. So, one of the nice things about coming to Peace Corps is it's made me kind of be conscious of how much resources I use every day, and like I've found ways to limit how much water I use. So, um, let's talk about them. So, let me go over my water system, what it's normally like. So, um, Armenia is a fairly developed country. I don't want to make it sound like when you're in the Peace Corps, you're just going to go live in like a hut with no electricity, no water, no amenities. No. Um, I live in a house, I live in a neighborhood. I have electricity, I usually have water access. My village is on a water schedule. Um, so that means I get water through my pipes, like flowing water for several hours every day. Um, but it's not that big of an issue because you can just store water. However, now because they're doing construction and fixing pipes, which is not an everyday thing, it's just kind of a freak occurrence, they are not sending us water. So now we have to go through Plan B. And Plan B is really just what you do and what you probably should do even in the US if you don't have or if you need to store water for whatever reason, just for emergencies. So, plan B is we're going to go get water from a well. But first, let's talk about the system I normally have. So, let me put my bucket down. This is what you've been seeing is my water lever to turn on my water to the house because it is manual. It doesn't just, like in the US, you have the sink, you turn it on, water comes, and there's never a problem. You never have to fix anything. You never have to fiddle with anything. So when I came here to this house, it was very complicated, and I did not know how to use my water system, how to turn on the water. But my neighbors were very kind, and they showed me how to do it. So yeah, so there's this lever. It's a blue lever. You can either turn it on or turn it off. And what it does is it takes water from the water supply, the neighborhood water supply, and it pumps it into my tank. So there's also a pipe that goes into the garden. There's a little like fountain. I should note this is not potable water. So I just use it for showering, flushing the toilet. It goes in the house, and I use it for washing dishes, but I don't drink this water. Um, yeah, so the water then goes into the bathroom, into this lovely tank. So I have a tank. Right now it has like almost no water in it. So I actually just have this bucket, and I've been putting water in it and using it. So the water goes into this tank, and then it gets pumped by this pump, electric pump that I plug in. It gets pumped into places like the sink and places like my shower and also the toilet. And it also gets pumped into my house, which is right there. So it goes into the kitchen sink as well, which is pretty cool. I like having water in the house because then it makes it easier to wash dishes, and, you know, showering is nice. Okay, so like I said, we don't have water today. I already tested it this morning. No water. It usually doesn't come in the afternoon. Usually just comes in the morning. So right now, plan B, we're going to go get water. So I've got my bucket, and we're going to go to the Akbur, which is Armenian for water fountain, which this village and like most of scenic Mars has them all over. Alright, so let's go. Oh, today is super foggy. You know, I make it sound like our village is super water insecure. It's not. We have 24 access to, I guess they call it spring water. I don't know. And it's basically water that comes from the mountains, goes to like a little, I wouldn't even call it treatment facility, but just like a facility at the top of the hill. And then it gets funneled into these fountains all over the village. So, hey, we've got water in our fountain today. Sometimes mine is a little faulty. So this water is what villagers drink. Mind you, you should still purify it, at least boil it. So we have this beautiful fountain / trough. So yeah, this is the water that villagers use for drinking because it's from a mountain. I always put it through my Peace Corps water filter just in case, because I have seen algae grow if you leave the water stagnant. So we're just going to wait for a few minutes for the water to get in the bucket, and then I'm going to bring it back to my house. This is not a very eventful video. But yeah, I mean, you know, water insecurity is one of the things you live with. One of the realities of being in the Peace Corps and being in a little rural village. But you know what? It's not that big of a deal. You can easily adapt. You can change your water habits. And you know what? I don't need to shower every day. And I don't need to be letting the faucet run when I wash dishes. And, you know, I can wear clothes more than once. It's not a big issue. So, for all you Americans watching, I hope you can reconsider how you use your water and realize that you don't actually need much to survive.